Hello, welcome. My name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Susan Clarine, the EI coach. She helps with emotional intelligence for the people side of business and happier workplaces. I'm extremely excited for you guys to share in this conversation that we're having today, and I cannot wait to see what we learn from her today. Is there anything you'd like to add to the introduction, Susan?
No, I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to share. And thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You know, what was life like before you got into coaching, and what was really the catalyst or events that led into you getting into the field?
Oh, thanks for the question. So, my career had been primarily in executive coaching, learning and development, talent development for about 20 years. And before I got really into emotional intelligence, I'd been coaching for about 10 years. And what I found with emotional intelligence, first of all, I'm just fascinated by it. As human beings, we all have emotions, right? And that's such a significant part of helping people shift their mindset when it comes to coaching and their coaching goals. And when I really got into emotional intelligence was I was working on a leadership development program for chairs and deans of a medical school. And in their role, it is a lot of influence without authority. I think a lot of people right in your audience can relate to that. That's how a lot of our roles are anymore, is influencing without authority. And so as I really looked at what would really be helpful for them, I thought, oh, emotional intelligence, taking them through an emotional intelligence assessment as part of their leadership program. And that's when I got certified in it. And that's when I really was excited about what emotional intelligence as a skill set could do for people and their leadership. And most importantly, their relationships and their relationships at work.
Can you talk about,
Mhm.
so, that's actually really important. So, influencing when you don't have the title. Can you give
Mhm.
some tips or, what are some reasons why people have trouble with that?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Thank you. It helps to take a step back and think, where do emotions come from? Right? And emotions come from our mindset, our perception, as well as even neurological, neurochemical responses in the body and the brain. And so when you think about influence, or if I'm trying to build a relationship with you, have us get along together, work more effectively and efficiently, I can come to you with certain perceptions, right? Judgments, biases. You can have certain perceptions, judgments, biases about me. And that can sometimes get in the way of influence.
Hmm.
Also at work, we're always, trying, of course, to put forth our own agenda, get things done that we have to get done. So we can tend to be, without even really thinking about it, very egocentric, right?
Hmm.
And that can inhibit influence because influence is about trust. Influence is about collaboration and understanding differences and coming together on those differences and becoming stronger, better, more creative, more influential, right? When we are able to collaborate in a really effective, high trust way. And so when we peel back that onion and look at, well, what's underneath all of that and what can get in the way, what can get in the way then is our instant emotional subconscious reactions,
Hmm.
right? So when you think about, when is it really frustrating at work, it tends to be frustrating around people problems, right? So
Hmm.
it's, how am I getting along with this person? How am I dealing with the other department? How am I dealing with my team member? If I'm a leader in the organization, how do I get everybody else on the same page as me? So when clients call me, it tends to be more around, I'd say, communication, right? Communication issues, problems. But when we really dig at, well, that's kind of the symptom, what's the underneath all that? It really gets to just understanding who we are as people and how we get along together. All of that's driven by our emotions, and our emotions shape our mindset, our perceptions, and what we believe about ourselves and what we believe about other people.
Hmm. So, let me ask you this. Which one do you do first? Do you understand your own emotions, or do you try and, navigate other people's emotions?
Yes and yes. So, but actually, it really helps to start with that foundation of self-understanding. So it can be difficult to navigate the emotions of other people and manage those emotions and your own reactions if you aren't really grounded or have some awareness in, well, why am I reacting this way, right? So, and many in your audience, they might be coaches or they might be people in the workforce, people who might be familiar with stimulus and response, right? And so there's stimulus and the response, and emotional intelligence is the stuff right in the middle that says, okay, if I'm reacting to a colleague, reacting in a meeting, where is that coming from? Why am I reacting to that? What do I believe about that? So it's very helpful to start first with that self-awareness. Why am I getting triggered? Why am I being irritated? Or conversely, why am I super excited? Why do I want to go forward with something when maybe I haven't done all my due diligence, right? So it could be positive emotions or negative emotions. So it really does help to start with that foundation. And when I'm coaching people, that's where I start, is that foundation of really understanding yourself, your reactions, why you react the way you do. And then, okay, well, based upon that, how do I then respond and navigate my other relationships at work?
Yeah. And to start to get that awareness, can you give like maybe 3 steps of, hey, take out your pen and paper, write down what you're feeling at
Mhm.
10 a.m. Can you give like some examples like that? Or
Yeah, I can. In fact, one of my favorite exercises, and it's my favorite because it works, and so I'm really happy to share this, is something I call the post-it note exercise. So we know, based upon research, that writing things down, journaling, is one of the most effective ways we can approach that self-understanding and create that break between stimulus and response, writing things down. And it's part of what we actually call affect labeling. Affect labeling is saying, ah, I'm frustrated. Why am I frustrated? And we write that down. It's like we get it out of our head and onto paper.
mm,
However, when I ask leaders, managers, others, how many of you journal? Very few responses. People are busy. Leaders are busy. And even though we know journaling works, it's
uh,
really hard to get people to do it because they think it takes time, right? You're like kind of laughing. Maybe there's some recognition there.
well, I
So
mean,
what I,
yeah,
oh, please go ahead.
yeah, like a lot of people, I don't know if they really understand the practical uses of it. They're like, it can't be that easy.
It is. So I have for an exercise that I'll share with everyone, which is, okay, journaling, keeping a diary, it just seems like overwhelming. Just keep 2 stacks of Post-it notes, 2 different colors. And as you go throughout your day, when you're in meetings or whatever you might be doing, simply write down in the moment when you're having a strong emotional reaction. So
Mm,
if it's irritation, impatience, embarrassment, worry, whatever that might be, write that on 1 stack of Post-it notes. Those are those lower emotional intelligent moments. And conversely, when you're feeling excited, enthusiastic, optimistic, same thing, write that down on a different stack of Post-it notes. Do that for a week. And at the end of the week, look at which stack is bigger. And then think about, well, what was going on when I was having a low emotional intelligence moment, and what was going on when I had a high emotional intelligence moment. And then for the next week, just try to replace one Post-it note from the low stack with the high stack. And this works because you don't have to like sit down and think, okay, I'm going to journal now. You got your Post-it notes, a notepad, whatever works for you. You're writing it down. And we do know that writing, there's like kinesthetically, it helps instead of typing something into your phone. But when you just put pen, paper, real quick on a Post-it note, then people can catch themselves in the moment. And then that helps with starting to build the awareness. And then that gives them a very easy practice for the next week to say, all right, I'm just going to trade out one low moment for a high moment. So that's one exercise and tip for you.
can I ask you this question? So whenever they talk about writing versus texting? Is it because of the number of muscles that are involved when you write, or because when you're typing, aren't you using more like as many?
You
Why
know,
is it connected?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to keep you off. It's the feedback process,
Mhm.
right? From neurologically, how you're thinking, and then how that feedback and those nerve impulses go through the body. And then with affect labeling, that's the fancy term psychologists use, you could do it, they find based upon the research, there's two effective ways of doing it. One is verbal. So that's why coaching is so important. If you just talk it out, I say, oh, Bryce, I'm really having this, issue with this colleague, and here's how I feel about it. Getting it out of my head and verbalizing it helps calm my emotional brain, which is right here in the limbic system, right? And helps me then start to allow my executive functioning, my prefrontal cortex to kick in and start to realize, oh, what's going on there? The second way to do it, and they find this is just works most effectively, is handwriting it,
Mhm.
writing in a journal. And it's the thought process and it's that connection, that feedback system neurologically between the brain and the hand, writing things down on paper. That's the most effective way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that simply creates more space between your emotional responses in the brain, and then allowing you to look at that and like literally hold it at a distance and say, oh, okay, why am I thinking this way, why am I reacting this way?
Mhm. Interesting.
It is interesting. So it's really about, when you think about emotional intelligence and becoming more effective at emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence is kind of this fancy academic word, right, that they developed in the universities, but really I just like, it's just being human, right? It's just being aware of ourselves and being aware of other people and what makes for the most effective relationship at work in terms of how we react and respond to one another.
Mhm.
And especially like even I was going to say pre-COVID, post-COVID, it's all around picking up these signals, right, from other people, whether that's face-to-face or whether what we're doing now, right, through an electronic medium or through a Zoom meeting.
Mhm.
And so it's really just managing ourselves and then understanding how do we help to manage our responses to other people so we can just get stuff done, right? And so it's all about creating that positive energy.
Nice. You know, just kind of winding down, switching gears. What does success mean to you?
Oh, thank you for the question. So I was coaching internally within different organizations, right? I mentioned I had about a 20-year career in organizational development, leadership development. And then I started my company it'll be 3 years in August. And I already feel very successful because I'm doing something that I love and connecting with people like you and others and my clients. And it's so wonderful to be able to wake up every day and find connection and meaning and purpose, right, in what I do. So that already makes me feel pretty successful. And I think success is also, in a practical sense, repeat clients. When I'm able to work with someone and they're like, wow, this is fantastic. And they have those aha moments. And we continue to work and collaborate together. I'm really big on collaboration. So I really like when a client feels like, an organization feels like I'm a partner to them, I'm a collaborator. I'm not just coming in and providing a service.
Mhm.
And when I can have those kinds of relationships, that's really successful. And going forward, I think success for me and my clients looks like, how do we manage and how do we continue to evolve human to human interactions as we continue to move through the pandemic? Because we don't know what's on the horizon. And I think the kind of work that all coaches do, including myself, is going to be so important because more and more I think that's where business was going anyway, was human to human connections, even being even more important. And I think even more so as we continue to move through the pandemic. I don't believe there's going to be a back to normal or a new normal. I think it's just going to be this continual evolution that we're all going to work through together. So success is anything we can do individually as coaches, collectively as a coaching community to help people through that. That's success.
Do you have any new things coming out, like a conference, a program, group coaching opportunities, open slots?
I do. So one thing I'm working on right now with another coach is I'm really focusing my business on one very key element of emotional intelligence, which is happiness and happiness in the workplace. And so we're working on a 9-week series. It will be virtual, all around happiness in the workplace and becoming a leader who leads with happiness. And we're specifically focusing on women in leadership, new leaders, women who are new to leadership, and women who are just advancing into leadership. And so we're real excited about that. Look for more information on that in August is when we're looking to roll that out. And if someone's interested in getting on our email list and wait list for that program, they can certainly email me. My website is theeicoach.com and my email is susan@theeicoach.com. And then another thing that I have coming up every month is I certify other coaches in emotional intelligence. So I do all of that virtually, and it's a very popular program. So for coaches, consultants, or if you have any listeners who are internal in an organization like HR, training and development, I run sessions every month virtually to certify and specifically the EQI assessment, and then to be emotional intelligence coach. So they can bring that to their clients, or if they're internal to an organization, to their leadership and their employees. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. The EI coach must have been I can't believe you got that domain. That's really good.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
All EI
that seems like
coaching all the
a hard
time.
one to find, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the E 2.0 book, I would have thought that someone else that they would have like trademarked all those names and stuff. So that's interesting.
Yes, I am the EI coach.
Excellent.
Yes, it's trademarked. So,
Excellent.
but and I find it's interesting that and I don't know if it's because of my branding or the marketing, but people do seek out emotional intelligence coaching. So that is also very rewarding because I think organizations have really started to understand the last few years how important it is to support one another, to create strong relationships, to communicate well, to have awareness as a leader, to lead with values, to be a humble leader, to be able to motivate and create engaging environments. All of that, the way we get to all of that is by practicing emotional intelligence skills. And when you think about Bryce, all the effort, the money, the expense that organizations spend on employee engagement, at the end of the day, what are we really talking about? What we're really talking about is engaging people through these skills of connection, these skills of feeling engaged, motivated, purposeful, happy. In the way you get there is through emotional intelligence. I'm pretty passionate about it, in case you
In case you
couldn't
couldn't
tell.
know, in case you couldn't tell. You know, thanks so much for doing this interview today. I really appreciate your time and really
Oh, my
appreciate
pleasure. Mm-hmm.
And for those watching, we really appreciate you. Hopefully, you got some great value out of this conversation. Now, if you're searching for a place where people are improving themselves and helping others do the same every single day, I recommend you go and join our community. There's going to be a link either above or below the video, depending on where you're watching. Basically, it's not comes together and uplift and support each other every single day. So that's what you're doing. Love and that was set the community. Guys, great day. possible